After my SSC, it was my dad that actually gave me an idea of going into tech. So that was how I started. It took me to my uncle's shop at Computer Village. So I started my training. That was how I became an engineer.
And how long have you been doing this?
I learned it for about 3 to 4 years before I started, and since then, with my current experience, I've been working for over 5 years now.
Can you walk me through your typical workflow when diagnosing a laptop issue?
Diagnosing laptop can be sometimes complicated and sometimes easy, so it depends on the user. Sometimes it is easier for you to figure out the issue, and sometimes it is difficult. So it just depends on how the person uses it, and sometimes it could be electrical and sometimes it could be software.
So how is the workflow like? Do you open the system, or is there a technique for you to say, okay, this is what is wrong with the system?
Yeah, you diagnose it by using a meter. It could be a digital or analog meter. Sometimes, you just have to go through different process for you to be able to figure out the issue.
How do you stay updated with the latest advancements in laptop technology and repair techniques?
Yeah, as an engineer, you just have to be updated because currently, there is a lot of companies like Apple, Samsung, HP, and Dell, and many more. So you just have to be updated whenever they have a new product. You go online, you watch YouTube, you go through the schematic, and sometimes when you get your hands on the gadgets, you open it, you go to the software, you go to the theory aspects, that you'll be able to solve the issue when a customer working for the repair.
Can you describe a particular challenging repair you have handled and how you resolved it?
The one that really gave me time was a customer that came with an Asus laptop to fix his screen repair. I couldn't get the screen, but I did not even remove one screw from the laptop, but the laptop didn't just come on. But the customer was just, you have to fix my laptop, and I had to just calm him down and then spend my own personal money to fix the laptop. So that was the worst part of the thing. The most challenging laptop I've fixed.
Does this happen often, or it was just a bad day?
Yeah, it's just a bad day, but electronics is something that you cannot predict. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't.
What is your understanding of laptop hardware components? The CPU, what is it used for? The RAM and the GPU?
The RAM is basically for speed to customers. For an engineer, speed and display. If the RAM is not in your laptop, there's no way it's going to come up. But a lot of customers just believe RAM is display. And likewise, processor. Processor is based on the speed and the strength of your computer. And the hardware, so the storage. The storage is just meant for OS and other software installation.
So what are the ranges for RAM? How is it? How does it come?
There are some old RAM and there are some latest RAM. There's PC2, PC3, PC3L, PC4, and PC5 is the current latest RAM currently. There's 4 gig, there's 2 gig, there's 8 gig, and 16 gig, 32 gig. Depending on the generation of the laptop.
How many generations of laptop do we have?
Generations started from, there's P4, there's Intel Pentium, there's Celeron, there's Intel Atom, there's Core i3, Core i5, Core i7, i9, and the latest one, which is Ultra 9.
Can you explain the difference between various laptop storage? HDD, SSD, SSHD.
HDD is an old storage, and SSD is the latest storage, which is more reliable and faster.
What tools are indispensable in your toolkit and why?
The first tools needed in laptop is your screwdriver. before you can do anything, you have to unscrew it. And your meter, your digital meter and analog meter, workstation, soldering iron. So
What are your go-to resources for finding replacement parts and ensuring their compatibility?
every part of a computer has a number, has a serial number. So once you check the serial number, you should be able to know the right one to use. The motherboard, you check the schematic on the board, the BIOS, the capacitor, the different ICs have different numbers, and the RAMs, they have different numbers. So before replacing it, you have to check the one inside to avoid putting a wrong one.
What do you think are the most common laptop repair issues?
Basically, is always power and once in a while software. But basically, it's always power related.
So is there any way to fight this?
Currently, we are always advising customers to get a surge to protect their laptop. That's the only way as currently.
Can you share any tips for extending the lifespan of a laptop?
Extending the lifespan of the laptop has to be number one is users matters. There are some careless users and there are some careful users. So if it's a careful user, you can use a laptop for as long as 4, 5, 10 years, depending on how careful you are. So the things you needed to protect your laptop, number one, you need a surge. And secondly, you have to service your laptop constantly if you are using a Windows laptop or a gaming laptop. So once you are noticing overheating, you take it to any technician to service it, clean the fan, change the thermal paste, and you continue using it. And once you notice a virus, you get an antivirus, you clean it up, you continue using your laptop.
How do you prioritize tasks when dealing with multiple repairs requests?
Usually, if it's a complicated issue, you tell the customer to drop it, you register it, you release all the storage, all the configuration in the laptop, you tell them to sign on it, and you give them the time to avoid disappointing so that you can have time to into their laptop.
How do you ensure you are providing cost-effective solutions without compromising on quality?
And there are China parts and there are original parts. So there are some customers based on budget, they prefer to go for the China part, but there are some customers that don't mind the cost of the hardware or the software. So we give them options of the quality. So the one you can afford is the one we're going to give to you. But we always advise them to go for the original one.
The China part laptop, is it that of low quality or it's just
Yeah, it has different grades. So when you see the price lists, you will know the one you can afford.
Explain the difference between Windows laptop and Apple.
Yeah, the difference between Windows laptop and Apple laptop is Windows is user friendly and software friendly. So in terms of software, the Windows doesn't really select software. Like you can basically install any software as long as the hardware is compatible and the laptop meets the software requirements. And MacBook, on the other hand, is very, very selective. Like there are a lot of softwares that cannot work with MacBook. So that is just the difference between the two laptops.
Which is your favorite?
Basically, for me, it's based on software issues and Windows.
What certification or training do you consider essential for a laptop repair technician?
Come again.
Is there a certificated course or like a school for anyone who wants to venture into laptop repair?
Yeah, apart from going to school to learn the theory parts, you still need a professional technician to put you through. So even when you have your certificate, you still need a practical professional that knows about the hardware and the software to put you through, because the theory part is not just enough because of the challenges you're going to face and the old technology and the recent technology. So you still need somebody to put you through.
A customer requests a laptop upgrade to improve performance. How would you recommend and implement the upgrade?
Upgrading laptop has to do with hardware and the software, the RAM and the SSD. So if you are using a lower RAM or a lower storage or a lower processor, so you advise them to move to a higher processor, higher RAM, higher storage for a long time use.
Which laptop will you suggest for someone who is into business that works in a bank? What kind of system, model, and then storage will you advise?
You can go for an 8th gen, 9th gen HP Dell laptop or M1 MacBook. Recommended.
Which laptop will you suggest for gamers?
For me personally, I recommend Acer Predator, Lenovo Legion, and then Razer Blade. Those are the laptops I can vouch for in terms of performance and their temperature.
For gamers, which will you recommend? A gaming PC or a gaming laptop?
Yeah, is a gaming PC is preferable because they are more efficient, stronger, and more reliable. Because you can easily build them from scratch. Your preference, your processor, you can choose between Ryzen or i9, and their cooling system is better than a laptop. So it is always preferable for you to go for a gaming desktop.
So now we've come to the end of the show. We're playing an honesty game where you get to like short the card and pick 3 cards. Then you give it to me and I ask the question. What are you naturally good at?
I'm an instrumentalist, so very good at the instrument I play. Because I've been doing it for long, so like, I'll be part of it. I've been doing it for my secondary school days. That's my hobby.
Okay. What do people often come to you for advice about?
How to maintain their laptop. That's a question I get all the time. Advise me how to maintain, how to engineer, how do I do this, how do I do that. It's always about laptop.
And the last question. When last did you cry and happy tears?
Happy tears.
Yes.
Yeah, the day I escaped an accident.
Oh.
So it wasn't expected. Like I wasn't expecting it. So I even forget my change to the driver. But I don't remember. And when I reached house, I can't remember. I said I no collect it. But I was just happy I escaped the accident. Yeah.
Was it a public transport or?
Yeah, it was a bike.
Okay. Thank you for coming today. Really appreciate you. And keep making our laptop work smarter.